In the previous lesson, we saw how we can import different types of objects and elements inside the scene to enrich our scenes, and we can use 2D graphics and 3D models and also different types of 2D graphics. So we're going to discover more in this video about importing images, about importing SVGs, and also I want to show you a little bit more about the outliner panel here on the top right. So slowly we're going to discover everything that you need to know in the 3D view here, and also in the outliner and in the properties. So little by little, we're going to discover all the various tools and settings and commands. Now I'm going to go back to the original layout here. In this lesson, we're going to do something more simple, and I'm going to start to hide stuff from the scene. So we're going to explore a little bit more, as I said, about the outliner first. So what I want to do here is just click on these arrows and compact everything so that we can see better what is going on. So first of all, in the outliner, we have collections, and we can create new collections and organize our scene by right-clicking and do new collection here. And we can also create a new collection by clicking on this little button on the top right. There you go. Now, once we have new collection, we can take some of these objects which are outside the collection and put it inside. So I can take this and put it in right there. And why can we use collection? Why there are connections, and what is the main use? So in my opinion, collection are a good way to manage the visibility, or in general to manage the objects in the scene through the outliner. So first of all, the connection, as you can see, has this extra button here that lets you turn everything that is not needed off of the screen of the 3D view. So we can manage the 3D view by managing the outliner using these tools right here. Now those two remain right there because they are not in any collection. So if I turn them off like this, nothing is going to happen, because this is a problem of grouping with the null objects here, so empty objects, that you need to go inside to turn off part of those. And in some cases like this is a bit annoying because you need to select all of the stuff that it's in there. So you can do a collection, which is going to be quicker. So if I take this, for example, in this collection right here, and if you want to take everything at once, you can just right click and select hierarchy. That's the quickest way you can select everything that is in there. But you can see still we cannot like manage completely, and I think because there are things that are turned off. So it takes time, but once it's in the collection, it's easier to turn on and off all of that. So this is my main reason because I use collections. So once everything is in there, it's easier to manage in terms of visibility. And then we have also these other two buttons. This is for visibility in the 3D view, and this is the visibility in the rendering. And you can find that also in simple objects. So if I create here a cube, you can see that these two main buttons are right there. But when you put it in a collection, you have an extra one, which is deactivating both simultaneously. Now, when you turn these off in the view, it's not going to be visible in the view, but perhaps you want to show that in the render. So the eye represents the 3D view, the little camera represents the render. Now let's render. But if I render here, well, that's not an actual render. This is, we can call it like a preview rendering from the 3D view, even if you're using the most advanced render, which is cycles. So what's the render? The render is when you go up here and you render the final image. So when you click, you can render. But right now, we don't have any camera, and that's an issue. We need to have at least one camera. So I'm going to add a camera. Add and camera. Now the camera right here, you can see is pointing usually similarly to my 3D view that I'm using right now. So if I move like this other way, let's go like from here to the top, and let's add another camera, you can see that it's going to be pointing downward. So depending on where you start creating your camera is going to change the position of the camera. So let me select one. And also an important thing about the camera, there is always an active camera, which is highlighted here in the outliner. So this one now is the active camera. Now this is the other one, so you can switch anytime. I'm going to delete the second one and just press the delete key. So X for the delete key. Let me turn on screencast keys. You may need it. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it up. And well, you can see this is my shot at the moment. I need to get in the camera to understand where I am pointing at. And we're going to talk about more cameras and things like that later on. So just going to be quick here. But right now, if I render, now I can render the image because I have at least one camera. And the rendering will go through the active camera. But right now we only have one, so we don't have that problem. So if I render, you can see the cube right here. Well, it's a bit dark because I have also turned off the collection where I had the light, which is this one here on the top. But you can see that cube is invisible in the 3D view, but visible in the rendering. And that's good because perhaps I want to here work with other objects and I don't want to be annoyed by, the render is too slow or the 3D view is too slow because I have too many objects. So what I can do is just turn them off in the view, but keep them on in the render. So only when I render, I will see everything. And remember, you need to turn on the collection first here, and then turn off the little eye icon. So now everything is turned off, but if I render, I can see the whole scene. And that's good, again, to save some energy of your computer. Okay, I'm gonna turn everything off here because I wanna show you some other imports. And also I wanna show you a couple of extra things in the outliner, but we're gonna get back to this later. So for example, here you can change the type of visualization in the outliner. You can see various scenes. You can see the current layer or more layers or unused data. So you can change the visualization here. Let's keep it to view layer, which is the default. You can search for something, for example, camera, and you can also apply some filters here. So if you want to have extra commands, you can turn everything on and you will see then, let me take off here. You can see all these tools now at your disposal. So you can make things selectable or unselectable and other, things you can turn on and off. You can also sort alphabetically if you want. And also when you search, you can search with the exact match and with case sensitive. So if I search for camera here, it's not gonna give me anything until I put the capital letter there. And there you go, and it's the exact word in that case. So be careful on these filters. And then you can see what you want to see or not see in here. So if I say, okay, I don't want to see collections, you can see I'm only seeing the camera and the cube. But this one here doesn't affect the 3D view, only the visualization here in the outliner. Now let's import some more graphics. Now, in general, you have two main types of graphics. One is vector graphics, and the other is raster, or made of pixels. Now, usually raster are used for photography or realistic images. Vector graphics are used for graphic design, logos, and cartoons, things that are like more clean in terms of lines and shapes, etc. Now, if you want to know more, we have a lot of courses in the channel about graphic design and various software. So SVG, vector graphics, you can see also some comparisons here by searching with images. So the vector graphics is scalable, meaning that you never lose the quality. You always have a clean shape, a clean lines. And raster graphics instead, they have pixels, so the more you zoom, the more you will see the pixels, so it's less precise in general. And you will find a lot of examples just searching in the web. Now, some software for graphic design are Illustrator, Inkscape, Vector. It's a website that you can use to develop vector graphics, and you will find this in the channel. Inkscape is the free alternative version of Illustrator. And for raster graphics, you can use Photoshop or free alternatives like GIMP or websites like Krita. Krita also is a software, or websites like Canva, Pixlr, Photopea,